So, one of the reasons I'm telling you a bit about my story is because it will help you understand how I started the business um, and all the things that came into play that affected the business, how I ran it, and how long it took for me to get to where I started and to where I am today. So, again, if you watch my videos, if you watched all of my videos, which are I think over 500 now, if you watch them from the beginning, you can see a noticeable change in my character and how my life was. And that's a major component in the business, because when you're starting a business on your own, just by yourself, like I did from your backyard, your character, your emotions are most likely going to influence and impact how you run the business in every single aspect, right? And so those videos, they're part of my story, they're part of my history, they're part of who I was. So I'm going to keep them. But after I started working with the cars, again, I didn't know anything, like I had a basic understanding of cars. Very, very rudimentary. Oil change, change the oil filter, change the engine oil, kind of understanding. Right, so when I picked up that car, I didn't know anything about cars, but it was running, the Rambler was running, and my idea was that it would just be a car for me to use, get around, and go to university with. I was still in university at the time. And what ended up happening is, like you've seen in the other videos, it needed more work. And at the same time with that happening, I ended up dropping out of university, and the car thing kind of became my obsession. And one of the things that I liked about classic cars is because it's a very traditional, manly profession. That's how I saw it when I was a teenager. And I still see it that way. It's a very noble profession. And so that kind of transitioned from being just a hobby to a business. And here's where I think is the change point, or the transition, that pivotal point that separates the true entrepreneur from just the people with ideas. And I say this a lot. If you go to a bar, if you go to a nightclub, and you talk to a bunch of drunk guys, there's always good ideas. There's a lot of people out there with good ideas, with excellent ideas. There's people with dumb ideas, but there's a lot of people with good ideas. And they say this, that they want to be this and that they want to achieve this in so many years. But only a small percentage of those people actually go through the trouble to follow their dreams, to pursue their ideas. And so for me, to go from somebody that didn't know anything about cars to somewhere where I am, to the place where I am today, where Old Crow's Classic Cars is the biggest database for classic cars available on the internet. And to the point where I can look at any car or even a truck and know exactly how everything works and solve any problem. It took me a lot of frustration, many years, a few years, not many years. But it did seem like many years. It took a long time to get there, and a lot of sacrifice. There's a reason, and I said this in another video, there's a reason why only 1% of the population are millionaires. I think it's only 1% of the population that actually own 90% of the riches, the money in the planet. While all the 99% of other people share that 1% of money. And so I said this in another video, the world is sometimes in many ways more fair than you might think. Because only that 1% of people are willing to actually do the sacrifice. You offer, if I today go out on the street and ask people, would they rather have money or a profession? Let's say I give them $500. Would you rather me teach you something, or would you rather take the $500? 99% of people are going to take the $500 because it's immediate. Very, very few people take the sacrifice to invest in something that's not always certain and that's not immediate. Humans are always looking for something that's immediate, something that's right away. Very few people, especially in my age, especially in their 20s and teenagers, think about things long term. And you know what? I'm not sure that's bad. I'm not saying that's bad. It's just some people are born with that mentality, or you're born without it. You're either born an entrepreneur or at some point I think you can start to think like that, but most people are born to just be workers. They're just born to be yes boss, no boss kind of people. And that's fine. If you're happy with that, that's what matters. But some people like me, they're not going to be satisfied. And I've told people this before, that even if I got a job that I was paid $50 an hour, I probably wouldn't be satisfied with it. Because there's always that ambition. And for a long time, I've tried to fight against it. I've tried to just live a normal life, just go to university like everybody else. But it doesn't work. It just didn't work. A lot of people just tell me, just don't try to be different. Don't try. Nobody likes classic cars anymore. It's too crazy. It's too unreal. It's too unrealistic. Don't try to be different. Just be like everybody else. And I struggled with that. That really bothered me. I realized, and I still do, that it is crazy to leave university, to drop out of university, to go fix cars, old cars, classic cars. But that's what it takes. The inventor of the TV, the first television set, he made the first television set was made from parts from a junkyard. So for all of us that are poor and that want to be bosses, that want to get somewhere, and want to be a boss, want to be perhaps a millionaire, you won't get there without sacrifice. It's impossible to get there without sacrificing a lot. It takes a big toll. To get to where I am today through the methods that I've used, it really took a toll. It hasn't been easy at all. A lot of frustration, a lot of tears. So the first problem was that I lived in a rented home. My family didn't own a home. So I had nowhere to build a garage. So I literally worked outside. You can see videos of me working in the winter sometimes, through the night, working through the snow, through the cold, 20, sometimes 30 degrees below zero, with no heat. But I pushed through all that. But a lot of people, the second thing that I struggled with was my age. Most people that want to have a classic car restored, they view us young people, they view teenagers as irresponsible. So I had maybe 2 or 3 potential clients that actually showed up, and they asked me, well, how old are you? They looked at me, how old are you? And they looked around, they said, well, where's your shop? And of course they didn't come back. But I really believe that, and some people thought that it was strange and crazy especially because I didn't have any experience with cars. A lot of people said, no, you should just go to college, learn there. And that's how you learn how to fix cars. And I just learned everything pretty much by myself. But see, most humans are used to just following somebody. And there's two types of people in this world. There's people that follow, and then there's people that guide. And you have to be, for you to be an entrepreneur, you have to be one of the people that guide. You have to be that person that thinks for themselves. You have to be the one that takes the first step. You can't wait for things to happen. You can't look for other people for help. You got to be pretty much self-reliable and just block out all the things that make you look crazy. And you will be perceived as crazy. You will have to, more often than not, my experience was that I wasn't able to be a teenager. I could as much say that I've never had teenage years. I've always been working on something. I'm trying, of course, to change that now, but in some ways. But that's the problem that most people have. It takes a lot of sacrifice to start a small business from the ground up. So I literally started Old Crow's Classic Cars from my backyard. Now, even though I didn't have experience, I have something that most people don't have, or they have and they don't realize it. Is intelligence and persistence. I really believe that with given enough time and given enough will, you can do anything. You can achieve anything that you want. If you want to learn how to speak a different language, if you want to learn how to play an instrument, you don't need to go to school. You don't need to ask your neighbor. If you want